Hey guys, welcome back to What's Up Grimes. My name is Jen and I'm here with MK as usual. Hey MK.
Hello.
So ironically, you were just informing me because I didn't know this. It's the 7th anniversary of Art Angels today.
Yes, today.
So we just planned to record Art Angels today without knowing that this was the anniversary. And I saw some things going on Twitter and kind of ignored it until you were like, oh yeah, it's the 7th anniversary. I was like, that's what they're posting about.
We just intuitively knew in our gut.
Perfect timing. So, Art Angels was her fourth studio album, and it was released apparently on November 6th, which is today, of 2015 through AD. And apparently, this had been planned since 2013 as a follow up to her studio album Visions. However, and we need to discuss this, and this will come up later in our facts. She scrapped most of the material from these sessions and began a new set of recordings in 2014. How many scrapped recordings of everything do you think she has out there?
She probably has like this backup drive with like all of this amazing work that no one will see, or she's accidentally lost. Like during the process of looking up, just we've been doing the album reviews and just talking about them. Uh, she will have a lot of technical difficulties, like recording something and like never releasing it or losing it somehow.
Okay. I saw a funny comment on Twitter. So recently she talked about how her laptop died or something crashed, right?
Yes.
And some fan account said something about what if there were only like two songs on that computer and that was book one, and now like we don't have anything and she had to start over. And I'm like, it wouldn't technically surprise me. I don't think that's what's happening, but who
No.
knows with Claire?
Yeah. If I had to guess, it's Nightcore stuff.
Probably.
It's gone.
She has like so many different projects and I just want to be like, can you focus on like one? Can we do one and just get it out? But whatever.
And back it up to the cloud, maybe.
That would be really helpful. So, Linda will come up later in some Grimes quotes, but we had a live with Linda, which was because of my technical issues. And Linda, it was so relevant that she was on our live recently because of the Art Angels anniversary coming up. And Linda was one of Grimes' backup dancers through the Art Angels era. So just an ironic timing that we had Linda on as well.
Yeah, and we actually had her on the date that Flesh Without Blood was released. So it was the anniversary of that single.
That's crazy. Also, stay tuned because now that I have technology back up and running, Linda is coming back on in January?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay. So Grimes' constant touring in 2013 for her 2012 album, Visions, my favorite album, led to a physical collapse. She recalls, quote, putting a hand up and grabbing a piece of her hair and she could just pull my hair out. This was also the time that she reports eating spaghetti nonstop. So she was nutritionally deprived.
I actually thought that was later, but it makes sense that this would be like when I was doing the research for this album, I actually thought the spaghetti fiasco happened during the Art Angels tour, but it actually happened before.
Spaghetti Gate of 2013, I suppose. Which I think doesn't surprise me because I feel like Claire is the kind of person that just goes all in.
Yeah.
And I mean, I feel like you're just trying to get your name out there and you're trying to tour and get your fan base going. And so you just don't think about taking care of yourself till it's too late and you're falling apart, literally.
Yeah. Even as a younger person, a younger lady, I don't know if I would be able to keep up with that kind of schedule. Like all day, like you're kind of like, you're sleeping all day and then you're up at night, I don't know. I would be too tired.
I couldn't do it. I think about that. Like, it's no wonder that singers or celebrities get hooked on drugs to me.
Yeah.
Because I could not keep up with the schedule, like you said, of the sleeping all day, your rhythm's already off, and then you're up literally all night, handling large amounts of anxiety, and she has social anxiety. I can't imagine.
Well, people like photographing you, taking, all sorts of video of you, especially this tour in particular. There's so much live content out there, which is what I found first of hers.
Same.
I'm so excited about this.
Yeah. This is your favorite album. We should say
It's my
that.
jam. It's my fave.
This brings us to Tumblr. So Tumblr was relevant back then. Did you have a Tumblr? I did not.
No, but I knew about it and looked at them. I never had one though.
Same. It was never like my thing, but media outlets at the time began running her Tumblr posts as headlines. So at the time, she wrote a post on her blog about her misrepresentation in the media and the sexism she had faced in the music industry, and she declared, quote, "I don't want my words to be taken out of context. I don't want to be infantilized because I refuse to be sexualized," which is interesting, considering recent content. "And I'm tired of the weird insistence that I need a band or I need to work with outside producers." So it sounds like this is the time where she starts having some trouble with the media.
Yeah, it does sound like that. I didn't know that they grabbed stuff from her Tumblr. I mean, she's always made like polarizing statements. So I don't know. I think that this era, she was very empowered from a feminist standpoint. Like, she cut her hair. She kind of wore like boyish clothing. She wasn't sexualized on stage. I don't know if that was on purpose to prevent scenarios from occurring, which probably would have been smart. But either way, she leaned into it.
Absolutely. Apparently, being in an, quote, unstable and, quote, beyond exhausted state, along with her frustration towards the media, which we know still exists today, she almost ended her career as Grimes, which I don't blame her. I feel like the mental toll that it had to take on her, and then probably thinking, if I don't do this, will I be satisfied in life? If I decide I'm not going to be Grimes anymore, I'm going to be Claire and I'm going to get a job doing whatever.
Yeah.
She also decided that she might switch to solely writing songs for other artists, or at least putting her life in the public eye on hold. So much of what happened in Art Angel's era, it feels like I'm reading a news headline from today, because she's basically put her public life on hold right now. We were talking before the podcast. I'm like, hey, let's talk about some recent Grimes news. And MK was like, what recent Grimes news? There is none right now. She's kind of on hiatus.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's interesting that she felt like this prior to Elon.
Yeah.
And that even like crazier spotlight that's been put on her. I can't imagine. I mean, even on it's not a small scale. When you're like an artist that travels and tours the world and you have fandoms all over the place, like, you're gonna have people looking at you. People are gonna try to tear you apart. And I think she also said in these interviews she hated like being like having a girly voice and like being called a singer, which she's not. She's not just those things. She's created Grimes. Grimes is an alter ego.
Absolutely. And so I get where she's at with this. She mentioned that this actually, her experiences, she took that and had something called post-traumatic growth, that's what we call it, and made out of that experience a conviction in being a solo artist and working by herself. In a 2015 feature, this was by The Fader, Grimes said that while working in music studios, quote, "there were all these engineers that didn't let her touch the equipment, and then a male producer would come in and he'd be allowed to do it." These incidents, which she described as sexist, left her, quote, "disillusioned with the music industry and made her realize what she was doing is important," which I agree. At the time, the fact that she did everything by herself, I think, was revolutionary.
I agree. I don't know if the interviews with like Linda Perry, do you know Linda Perry? She's a producer, Dolly Parton. She did like an interview with them and all female producers.
Yes.
And she was like the young buck looped in with that. I mean, could you imagine sitting with like icons like Dolly Parton and Linda Perry just talking about like, we make our music. We don't just rely on other people to orchestrate our personas. We do it all ourselves. And I thought that was really when I was first getting into Grimes and seeing those interviews, I was like, wow, she really has made a significant impact as a engineer and producer and should be taken seriously as such.
And I know there's so much that goes out there with legal mumbo jumbo that we probably won't know about that's happened to Claire. I just wish I could know what has happened to you in the past in the music industry, because I'm sure if you allow people to have some amount of control over you as an artist, you're just controlled. You're like a puppet. And I just am curious if that's changed for her, if she still feels like she has full control over her stuff. I don't think so, based on the comments she makes about Columbia pretty openly.
Yeah, I think I don't want to put words in her mouth, but it seems like she has a contentious relationship with the label. And I think because bigger deal labels put a lot of restrictions on you and try to control the narrative as much as possible, because you are at their house, right?
Yes.
You are representing their brand, not
Mhm.
yourself, which I don't know why she hasn't started her own label, to be honest.
I know it'd be great. Another project where she would do some work on it, and then it would just be like on to the next one. She kind of lily pads. She kind of goes from project to project to project.
Yeah.
I mentioned this previously, but by 2014, Claire produced, quote, hundreds of songs for her next album, most of which were not included on Art Angels. She described the recording of these tracks as, quote, this period where I had no way of dealing with anything. So I was writing these really depressing songs and nothing was fun at all. So apparently she rejected these tracks because they were not enough of a sonic departure from Visions. She wanted to write something totally different from Visions, which she did accomplish.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's snippets in Visions and Halifaxa that led to Art Angels.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, not knowing that, I would say this is a happy album.
Yeah, right?
Like, it makes me feel good. I listen to it when I get ready, for work or even just doing work. Like, it's an album. You know what it kind of reminds me of? I don't know how many of our fans are actually Weezer fans, but it's like the album itself is like a Weezer album. You can listen to it back to front, like pick certain songs from it and watch the videos. Like, I can't even tell you how many times I've watched those videos and live shows from this era. It's just epic. Grimes. And during COVID, I would say this album got me through, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. And it is so different than Miss Anthropocene. You mentioned that Art Angels is a happy album, and I agree. It makes me feel happy and energized, and kind of reminds me of being a teenager. Versus Miss Anthropocene, which I listen to when I'm moody, and I just want to feel moody. This is different.
Yeah, it's a whole different mindset, and I think she's very good at writing pop songs. Like, she loves Mariah Carey, Katy Perry, K-pop, all influences in her style, which you can see. I would love more Art Angels type music, and I don't consider it like anti-feminism to write a pop song that's amazing. Miss A was like a deliberate 180, I think, to show that I can be dark. My name is Dark.
Yeah,
I can be dark. And she got back into like the sci-fi into Miss A, which, like, I don't think there's most like sci-fi, like medieval references in most of her albums, and I don't think I saw anything about Art Angels having influences like that.
I didn't either when I looked into it. And Art Angels reminds me a little bit of Shinigami Eyes. Shinigami Eyes has that like upbeat, fun feeling, except I don't think Shinigami Eyes is as lyrically in depth as I felt Art Angels was, where the lyrics, like some of the lyrics in Art Angels, like get me in a good way.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
They're really beautiful, and I didn't feel that about Shinigami Eyes. It's a great banger, but it doesn't have like lyrical, I don't know,
magnitude.
Magnitude's a good word.
It doesn't have anything that cuts to the core. Like Shinigami Eyes, I would say the lyrics are more like Miss A. Like, it's a concept. There's something behind it, and it's darker than Art Angels. Because I mean, unless she had a concept for it, aside from like the archangels, like muses, are muses in our life. I don't know if there's anything deeper than that. I know she loves Greek mythology as well as many other, mythology types, but I couldn't find anything holding it together as a total concept.
Yeah, and I read some theories. I am all over the Grimes subreddit. There has been some interesting posts on the Grimes subreddit that we were talking about before I started filming. It just feels like people are feeling very pessimistic currently. But one of the topics was about how do you guys feel about Shinigami Eyes? And people very respectfully were saying, hey, it's a banger. And it felt like maybe her label was pushing her towards like what's going to hit at the clubs versus maybe what you would want to produce yourself. And I don't know. I wish she would talk more about it. I'm curious. I like it. Not hating on it. It just seems like people have that opinion across the board. It looks like maybe her label influenced what she was going to put out.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. And I think that's if I had to guess what the delays are with all of book one, it's, and she even mentioned it during an Alter Ego Instagram live a year ago, that like what she wanted to come out first is not necessarily what the label wanted first. I actually think the label wanted Shinigami Eyes to come before Player of Games, if I had to guess.
Alter Ego was an interesting time period. I did a live about it. It was an interesting. Alter Ego was Grimes was the only reason I watched that show.
Yeah.
Okay, and then it was like it happened, and then it was like everybody just moved on. Like nobody talked about it again. I heard nobody calling for a season 2. Claire hasn't really mentioned it. It was just like, okay, like that was a fun period.
It was. I mean, I thought it was really cool that she was on the same panel as like Alanis Morissette.
Oh yeah.
And they did like a little video, but it got taken down immediately. Did you see
that?
Where, like, I'm Lord and Savior.
I remember that. There was also a TikTok she made. She was traveling with Elon. I want to say it was in Germany when she went with Liv. I want to say, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, that she was like up on the like catwalk at the facility that Elon was overseeing over there, and she filmed a TikTok and that got taken down immediately. And I'm like, is it just that your people watch this and they're like, hey, you can't have this up? Like maybe check before you post it? I don't know.
Yeah. I don't even know if I caught that one, to be honest.
I memed it. It was very cute. She was laughing about something, and her laugh is super cute.
Oh, I love her laugh.
But it was taken down. I think I found it, and then it was taken down like 10 seconds later. Anyway, this brings us to Go, which I didn't realize was a like controversial song until she mentioned it in an interview, because I think it's a really great song. It was a 2014 single.
Mm-hmm.
It was recorded during the sessions that she mentioned previously. It was originally written for Rihanna. However, Rihanna turned down the track, which thank goodness, because I love that she ended up doing it. She released it as a, quote, surprise under her Grimes alias. However, the negative response to the single from fans who believed that Claire was, quote, pandering to the radio, which sounds a lot like when she made Shinigami Eyes and people are saying you're pandering to what's relevant right now, led media outlets to report that this was the reason she had started over the recording of her new album. Claire said this was false and commented that Go and the other tracks she had cut were not from a complete album. They were just songs that didn't make it onto Art Angels. She later stated that she would consider releasing the archive material for free in the future, but that didn't happen.
Is David a part of that?
I wonder. I really like that song.
I love that song.
And so many people say that it's so significant to them, and I wish she would release that one. I wonder if it's just too painful to release or if she lost it. I don't know.
I mean, I don't know. You could spruce it up. She probably has some kind of MP3 file or something of it. I don't know. That seems like very Art Angels era to me.
It does. But it's also, it's like super deep.
Yeah.
So, on making Art Angels, Claire said the album represents an incomplete transition to the contemporary version of Grimes, where technically she no longer has control of the Grimes narrative. Quote, so much of my music is against the people who are trying to take it from me. You have to push people, and you have to be aggressive, or you can't get your way. People offering to do your job all the time, it's just infuriating. Let me do my effing job. I don't want to be the face of this thing I built. I want to be the person that built it, which I imagine she still feels that way. People are taking from me what I want to do with my art.
And I think that's what causes delays now and has always caused delays in her releasing. Because, I mean, when we've dug deep with these albums, it does take a while for them to come out and things happen and she pulls it and then it's back on and it's like this has been an ongoing theme with her. And I think it's related to fighting with labels, fighting with the media, fighting with her, even just team of business types who don't really understand the full scope of the art she's trying to put out. She's very misunderstood in a lot of ways.
Yeah, you and I talk frequently, and I know the fandom does in general, about where is book one. And I'm just curious. I wonder if it's a lot like this, and that's what's going on. If she even knows what's going on, if she just wants to be a mama and wants to do different things and doesn't feel the same passion for it. I wonder.
I think her passion will always be there because when she puts her energy into something, she follows through with it, whether it's released or lost or deleted. She still puts her all into it, you can tell. So I think she's still trying to control the narrative as much as you can. I mean, none of us have control over our narrative. All you can do is control your response to things, and maybe sometimes that's silence for her.
Yeah, and perception is reality. So the way that you perceive something happening is your reality. And I can't imagine being a celebrity figure and people take your tweets out of context. Oh, this was something that was happening on the subreddit MK. People were getting mad because Claire was like liking certain tweets from people that the fandom didn't like. And people were getting so mad about it on the subreddit. And I'm like, it's just a like. Like, it doesn't represent anything. You know how it is, like, you're scrolling through stuff and you just like I don't even fully read something maybe.
Yeah.
I cannot imagine being a public figure and every single thing you do, including a like on somebody's post, gets you like hate.
And we wonder why she isn't so immersed in the fandom at times, We just want to take from her. She's a real person,
I'd be done. I'd be so done. So I hope she's not. Two more things before I turn the mic over to MK. We need to talk about the art on this album. So the album art cover shows a banshee portrayed as the planet Earth. Claire mentions this is kind of a, quote, fairy woman who wails before someone's death or misfortune in the album's 9th track of Pen. You can also hear representation of her screams in the 3rd track, that's Scream. Her dying aspect with blood tears symbolizes the planet's struggle to find balance with our endless consumption and exploration, while her 3rd eye stands for her enlightenment in relation to the human race, giving to her the perception beyond ordinary sight. The cover sums up the whole concept of the album, where Grimes is in a constant conversation with the spiritual figure who's known as Planet Earth, showing our disruptive relationship with the place where we were all born, which leads perfectly into Misanthropocene, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And then something I didn't know about, which I'm embarrassed to say, because I've done a live on this on my page, Grimes made individual art pieces for each track on the album, and I looked those up.
I didn't know that either.
What the heck? I looked those up. They're beautiful. They're so representative of each song. So again, I think that there's so much that goes into the symbolization of Grimes that I don't even think about.
Yeah.
I just see the album cover and I'm like, oh, an alien. Okay.
Oh, it's an anime drawing.
Whatever. Last thing I'll say on this, NME in 2016 reported that in an interview with Culture Magazine, Grimes, who by 2016, Grimes decided she wanted to go by C. But that's interesting because I hear her go back and forth where she'll talk about how the kids call her Claire. So I wonder if it just depends on who it is talking to her. She discussed her last record in 2016 in unforgiving terms. She said, the last album was a piece of crap. I feel like people misread it and it feels like a stain on my life. How do you misread Art Angels? Like, it's not a controversy to me.
No, I think it's her most successful studio album, like, as far as like anybody can jump in, and if someone was new to the grime, knowing who Grimes is, I would recommend this album first.
Same.
Yeah.
So that's that. And then out of this era, which is MK's part,
My jam.
your jam, music videos came out of it. So let's talk about that.
All right. So, as far as music videos, October 2015, Grimes releases Flesh Without Blood. Grimes revealed via her Twitter account that Flesh Without Blood is a song about a platonic friendship she had with a woman. Grimes noted how prior to stating her authorial intent, the press had assumed that the song was about a heterosexual relationship. She saw this as an example of how the press genders my lyrics and said that she no longer writes songs about love. Okay.
Adore you. Okay.
She also described it as a song about being really disappointed with someone who you really once truly admired. Love it.
I absolutely
Yeah.
love it.
I love the concept behind it. I knew this about the music video because I didn't really, I didn't know the context of the video. It seemed, there was some kind of concept that I wasn't totally getting right off the bat. So of course I looked it up, and that's how I found out, that her and Elon met based off of the joke from this album. Is that correct? The Rococo Basilisk.
Yes.
It's just a very interesting concept for an album and song, and I love this song so much. I still listen to it pretty much every day.
I do too. And if you listen to the lyrics, one, people always try and figure out who is the girl that she's referring to, but regardless, because I don't think we'll ever know, I really like some of the lyrics that sum up really well when you have a close relationship with someone, whether you're into them or not. It's just a friendship.
Yeah.
Like coming to that place where you're like, after all, I just don't like you, and I don't see the same light I saw in you anymore. It's just not there anymore.
Yeah. It's a beautiful song. It's like almost like a send off goodbye to somebody that you once really cared about, and it's over.
Yeah. And just putting that to rest, because it's really hard to come to that place with friendships or otherwise where you're like, you know what? This isn't good for me anymore, and I'm going to choose to move forward. It's hard. So.
It's like, it's nice that you say that you like me, but only conditionally,
Which I was listening to that song last night, and I'm like, isn't that so relatable to what's going on in the fandom right now, where I feel like some people, and I fall into this category occasionally, hey, I'm really going to like this, and this, but with conditions. Which is like just kind of a human trait in general. Like we like certain things about people conditionally. But even with her music, there's certain things that I'm going to like based on conditions of what I like and don't like.
Yeah. And you have your own narrative in your head about what that means, and judgment calls with it too, right? And that may not always align with the truth or how Grimes feels.
Yes.
Okay, so moving on to the next music video, March 8th, 2015, Reality. Boucher released a music video for the demo version of her song as a gift to her fans. Reality was produced during the scrapped recording sessions for Art Angels and not intended to be included on the final version of her fourth album. That's astonishing to me.
I know, it's so good.
It's like, that song might, I don't know, top 5 of all time Grimes songs. That's in there. I can't rate them, but that's in there. It's an amazing song, and I don't know how this album, it's still pretty good without it, but it's like, that's an epic song on that album.
Do you like the demo version better or the actual album version better?
I like both.
Same.
I love the live versions too, like I just like that song.
Yeah.
And then January 2016, Kill V. Mame. She told Q Magazine, Kill V. Mame is written from the perspective of Al Pacino in The Godfather Part 2, except he's a vampire who can switch gender and travel through space.
Okay.
Sure. Kill V. Mame is a character who also makes an appearance in Flesh Without Blood, according to a Fuse.tv interview in which the characters are explained. Kill V. Mame is described as the vampire. The Flesh Without Blood videos begin with the label of Act 1 and later flashes to Act 2, while the Kill V. Mame video begins with the label of Act 3, hinting at continuation of the same story. I didn't actually know that.
Yeah. It's so like there's so much that goes into Grimes music videos that I'm like, what? Even when Lance was explaining to us the concept behind Shinigami Ai's music video, and I was like, I didn't get any of that while watching the video.
I'm so glad you said that, because I remember being like,
sure.
I'm gonna have to like go back and check that out again.
I didn't get any of that, so yeah.
So the music video, Kill V Main, was directed by Grimes and her brother, featuring the Canadian singer driving a tricked-out pink car, dancing at a blood-soaked rave, and wearing black wings a la Natalie Portman in Black Swan. The video also references various pop culture motifs, including Law & Order, anime, The Legends of Zelda, and Blade. According to C, in an interview with Stella McCartney, the original Grimes is killed off screen in the video and is instead replaced with a character called Screechy Bat. And I love Screechy Bat.
Yeah.
I love that character. I wish we actually saw more of that character in the video.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I've tried to do the makeup before, and I like try to find pictures, and I'm like, and certain people have actually done the costume if you look up.
Yeah, it's
like
super cute.
Yeah, but there's not enough of it. I love that. And then in a later interview, C said that she regretted the decision of killing off Grimes. And so the character was reinstated as part of lore later on.
I've also read, when I was researching for the live for this, that the pink car that you see is actually the family van from the Boucher family that she and Mac would drive. And so they like cut it up and made it into the car that you see in the video, which I think is super cute. Also, all of these were styled by Turner. Shout out Turner.
Is this the first video that Turner styled?
No, she started in Genesis.
Oh, did she? Wow.
Yeah,
I had no idea their relationship went back that far.
Yeah, isn't that cute? That's cute.
It is cute. All right, so next music video, October 2016, World Princess Part 2, Butterfly Scream, and Belly of the Beat were in the Acid Rain Chronicles videos, which those are epic.
Yeah.
And after talking to Linda, she's like, I mean, how much better can it get dancing on the Alps?
Yeah.
You know? Like it's just beautifully shot. I'm so curious, like the interior shots, like when they're it's almost like an auditorium in some videos, like some of Hana's and Belly of the Beat, the one like where they're like, I wonder what space they had rented, or I don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah. So per Grimes, about the Acid Rain Chronicles, initially we set out only to shoot something for World Princess Part 2, but we felt done after a couple of days, so we kept shooting in between shows and days off and started shooting videos for Hana too, she explained. Aristophanes also played some shows with us, so we were able to shoot Scream. Linda and Allison, shout out to Linda, who dance in the show, also appear in the videos. I just love them. I love the videos. And there's really nothing to them either. They just are having fun.
I know. I think there's something to be said for Grimes' really big production values that she puts on videos now, but there is something very simplistic and something I adore about the very basic, hey Mac, here's the iPhone, like record a music video for it.
Oh, I love this shot. Keep going.
Yeah.
Remember he says that? I love that. Okay, so per Grimes about these videos, this summer I brought my brother Mac and my best friend Hana on tour, and we shot a bunch of music videos, Grimes wrote on Twitter. These 7 videos were shot over a 2-week period throughout Europe during the Acid Rain tour. They are guerrilla style vids, a la reality, so there was no crew, makeup, cameras, lights, just us and a phone, so maybe don't expect anything too fancy. But it holds up.
It does.
It holds up. They're having fun, and there's nothing more to read into it, you know?
It's great.
Yeah. All right. So May 2016, California. Directed by Claire with her brother Mac, the clip features Grimes in an art studio, on stage, in a gym, wearing a variety of colorful outfits. Making cameo appearances are Mac, Purity Rings, Megan James, Hana, Born Gold. What are your thoughts on this song in this video?
I actually we talk about this in the next fact, but I like that there's a new version of California for the music video, and I actually like that one better than the album version. I don't know why.
Yeah. I didn't like this song initially. This is one of the
Same.
ones where I kind of always skipped over it. I don't know if it was because I do like some country music,
Yeah.
but I think this because it was country inspired, it didn't initially jive with me. So it was always like my last like least favorite song on the entire album. Um but yeah, I'll go ahead and read the rest of this here. The track used for the first verses and chorus of the song differs from the version on Art Angels, like you just said, having a more chilled back, dreamy, and stripped instrumental. After the release of the video, Grimes took to her Twitter to explain the reason for the alternate rendition of the song featured in the music video, saying it was dissonant with the original track and failed to elicit visuals in her mind. Had to redo track because when I looked at the footage, it was dissonant versus the original song. Song elicits no visuals in my mind naturally. Such a producer, Pat, you know?
Like that would never have occurred to me. I'd be like, yeah, it's, I mean, I love that she sees things in her brain when she's, recording the music, and it just didn't match up when she did the music video, which is pretty boppy, the music video.
Yeah.
So it holds
Yeah,
up.
it does. And it's not my number one fave off the album, but, since it is my favorite album, it's a song that I still would listen to. It's not like I would skip over it. It's kind of flows with the rest of the album. So,
No, and this is the first album where there's a lot of media coverage. There's a lot of interest and facts, and the tours look much bigger when you look them up on YouTube. So thus Art Angels. I hope that's a good synopsis of the 7th anniversary of Art Angels. I hope we did them proud.
yeah. Oh, well, one more thing I wanted to say about this album. The robot dance, like she would like do
Oh,
these like
yes.
dances.
Yes. Yeah.
And I remember my husband when I first got into Grimes was like, who is this? Like, cause she would just do these like crazy moves and dance and scream on stage. Like I miss punk rock Grimes. Come back punk rock Grimes.
Yeah, like
That's
the
all I
laying
gotta
on the
say.
stage and like rolling around, screaming, like just weird
Screaming
stuff
in
that you're like,
Russian.
all
Come
right.
on.
Like I value both the like heavily produced Grimes that we have now, where she has like the stylist and you can tell that like everybody's behind her making her look a very specific way. But there is something that we'll never get back about the kind of Grimes that was dressed in like Goodwill clothes, rolling around a stage screaming with the robot dance.
Yeah, nothing better than indie Grimes.
Yeah, I miss it.
We heart you.
We heart you, indie Grimes. Hope we did you proud, Art Angels. Happy 7th anniversary to Art Angels. Stay tuned with us, guys. We'll be back with more content week to week. Thanks so much for tuning in.
Bye.